So guys, I've never done a video about PewDiePie on this channel before for various reasons. On one hand, it's covered to death and too many people are just like sucking out clicks from YouTube, trying to put PewDiePie in their thumbnails and all that. I'm not trying to do this in this video, but I feel at this point, we've reached a point in time where it's really necessary to break down what happened and how he got to where he is today. So in this video, I'm going to break down in a chronological order what happened and how I think it led to the corner that PewDiePie is in today. I'm also going to share my opinion on what happened in the recent few days. So I feel obliged to break this down because some of you might not have heard it. So as you probably know, Felix Kjellberg, aka PewDiePie, is in trouble again. Just a few days ago, he changed his mind about a $50,000 donation to the Anti-Defamation League, which is an international Jewish anti-hate group, after there was a massive uproar from some of his fans stating that that exact same anti-hate group contributed to his deal with Disney being cancelled a few years back, and that they were basically trying to actively ruin his career at that point. So PewDiePie made a correction statement in a follow-up video in which he said that he did not feel genuine about making that donation. He retracted it. He was advised to do so, and he would now instead pick a charity that he was personally more passionate about and donate to them, which he did. In that video, he did not address specifically whether that uproar by some of his fans played a role in his decision. And then that kicked off a whole second uproar of people saying that now his right-wing fans talked him into retracting that donation and that he's basically giving in to his more radical followers. Now, a personal disclaimer at this point, I used to watch a lot of his content when he mostly did Pew News and Hawaiian Meme Review during that phase. Really enjoyed his work, and I think, there's a reason he's number one. He's very, very good at what he's doing. Now I follow him less so because I don't really like Minecraft and he's mainly doing Minecraft videos. So it's not really any personal reasons. It's just a, matter of taste in content. However, let me answer the main question of this video directly, before we move forward. Do I believe that PewDiePie is a Nazi or a right-winger? I personally don't think so. Okay, he said specifically in previous videos, and I'm quoting here, "Let me be ridiculously clear, at least in my opinion, F anyone who's a racist, F anyone who's a white nationalist. That's not what I'm about, and that's not what this channel has ever been about." Okay, so I think you can't be any more clear. He clearly takes a stand, and he's done it a few times in the past, taking a clear stand against right-wing politics, against white nationalism and all that. However, that being said, the situation is not as simple and clear-cut as it may look. So what I want to do, as I mentioned in the beginning, I want to give you a chronological breakdown of what happened in the past and try to look at it as a bigger picture. Okay, because I think we need to look at the history of what happened, and hopefully that will paint a picture that will make us understand why PewDiePie today is where he is. And keep in mind, this is a very top-line summary of everything that happened. I mean, I encourage everyone to go out there and research each of those points that I'm going to make by yourself, because there's much more depth to each of those stories that I'm going to talk about, and it would be unfair to just listen to what I say without really looking at it. I mean, I know a lot of people who are watching this video have been following those stories as they've been unfolding, but some people may have not. So I encourage everyone to go out there and look at those stories by yourself. So let's get started. In 2017, PewDiePie did a video in which he paid two freelancers, for lack of a better word, on a platform called Fiverr, $5 to say all kinds of ridiculous things, okay, including holding up a sign that said what you see here. Now, after he did that, he apologized, saying that it was just a bad joke and that he never thought that they would actually do it. And I'm sitting here thinking like, well, okay, right, he apologized for it. It's a terrible joke. But I've done terrible jokes in the past, so I kind of let it slip. And it actually could be seen as kind of an art piece that illustrates how crazy the world nowadays is. So I wasn't too judgmental. It's a horrible joke and it's a terrible thing to say. And to be honest, if I would have to think about what to put on a sign like this, I would never even come up with this idea. I would maybe come up with ideas like saying I'm a complete moron or whatever, kind of insulting yourself with that sign or whatever the idea is. But to come up with an idea to say something like this, I was a bit like, what's going on in your head if this is an idea you come up with? But anyway, I let it slip. I wasn't judging. Everyone makes mistakes. At that point, I mean, the Wall Street Journal turned it into a massive story. And as a result of this, PewDiePie lost a massive deal with Disney. So he kind of paid his price and, who am I to judge? It's a distasteful joke at this point. Then also in 2017, he played Battlegrounds, PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds in a live stream, and he used the N-word. Not only that, he used what an effin', the word, anyway, you get it. I can't say it here for obvious reasons, but he's called someone an effin' N-word while being on live stream. And again, after that, he apologized. He kind of apologized right after that, saying he was an idiot for saying that, and he just means that the guy's an asshole and all that. And to be honest with you, in that moment when he said it, it was pretty clear that that word just slipped out in the heat of the moment. And I have to be honest with you guys, I used that word with people and close friends of mine as well when I was younger. It's a hip-hop, it's a rap thing. It's not right, and I'm not defending it, but I used this word with people like my brother, for example, in the past as well. So I can kind of relate, but considering the reach that he has with his millions and millions of followers, at that point, it was quite a slip up. Okay, so that was like the second thing that happened. After that, when his meme review phase was kind of at its height, he had a phase where he used the term libtards regularly in his videos. It was always like in jest, right? It's like, you see that libtards, that's how it's done and all that. But again, it never really got political. He always used it in a comedic context. So you could always argue, it's just a meme, right? It's just a joke. And at that point, interestingly enough, he was also following several very questionable right-wing, quite radical right-wing personalities on Twitter. Here's a screenshot of the people that he followed at that point, showing people like Stefan Molyneux, Ben Shapiro, Lawrence Southern, and I see that Ben Shapiro, is not as radical as those other two people, but nonetheless, he clearly falls into that spectrum. And actually, as part of this, he started to turn Ben Shapiro into a bit of a meme, encouraging him to host Meme Review, which he then did, basically giving Ben Shapiro a platform. But again, right, it's all just a joke, it's all just a meme, we're just having fun here. And shortly thereafter, he unfollowed all those people. So at this point, I was like, sure, okay, you keep apologizing for all those slip-ups. You pretend to be apolitical in your work, yet you clearly offering those guys like Ben Shapiro a platform, whether it's a joke or not. His popularity increases through this, and a certain demographic who's following you will read these things as a clear sign of solidarity. So that's not necessarily a good thing. So that was the point where I was being just a bit kind of torn apart, trying to read what's going on in his head. Well, who knows? Then in December 2018, he shouted out a series of his favorite channels, trying to push his popularity on other channels as well, sharing some of his fame and success, which is a good thing. However, he included one channel that was basically a channel making essays about children's cartoons mixed in with very questionable propaganda that's clearly right-leaning, to say the least. Again, PewDiePie came forward, apologized, stating that he didn't watch all his videos and he was not aware of the channel's ties to that kind of Nazi propaganda, for lack of a better word. And to be honest, he seemed genuine in his apology. I believe him. But again, it's another irresponsible slip-up, right? It's another thing where you're like, you gotta do your homework a little bit better. Then, in 2019, during the height of that subscribe to PewDiePie meme phase, someone spray painted subscribe to PewDiePie on a World War II memorial. Now, admittedly, he has nothing to do with that directly, right? He didn't encourage anyone to do these things. And in a video, he specifically stated that he's disgusted by that behavior and that whenever you have so many followers like he has, you're always bound to get a few degenerates. That's literally the word he was using. So again, he took a clear stand against what happened, yet he previously gave people like Ben Shapiro a platform, right? So it's like a double-sided sword, so to say. On one hand, he encourages these people, giving them indirect signs, you could argue, and on the other hand, he kind of condemns their actions. So at that point, I was like, what's going on here? Then, shortly thereafter, the whole situation escalated. The right-wing and white supremacist terrorist Christchurch shooter said, subscribe to PewDiePie on a live stream before he went out and killed 51 innocent people in a mosque. Following that horrific event, PewDiePie then ended the subscribe to PewDiePie meme, stating in a video that he strongly condemns these actions and doesn't want his person to be linked to such horrible acts. And then cut to today. As I said in the beginning, PewDiePie announced that in one of his latest videos, he would be donating $50,000 to an anti-hate group, only to retract that announcement a few days later, stating that he did not feel genuine about that, he was advised to do it, and that he would now instead pick a different charity that he was personally more passionate about, also saying that he didn't do enough research about that group he wanted to donate to. So it's a bit like, again, you didn't do your homework. Now from here, he was wearing this jumper in the video in which he announced that he will retract his donation. And as you can see, the symbol on his neck of his jumper is very reminiscent of the Iron Cross, which is an iconic medal used by the Nazis. Now, that jumper is part of a collection by Georgian designer Demna Gvasalias. I'm shreddering that name. But the cross appears to be a Bolnisi cross, which is a national symbol of Georgia. Now, do I think that he wore that as kind of a hidden symbol in his video? Absolutely not. Okay, PewDiePie is a little bit of a fashion nerd. We all know this if you follow his videos. And I genuinely think it was just a coincidence. But what it triggered, that's the real problem here. His Nazi followers read it as a hidden statement of support. And if you look around Twitter, you find plenty of tweets of Nazis and radical right-wingers that celebrate him for wearing that. And for retracting his donation. Even I'm sure it was not his intention. Now, the obvious thing for him to do in a situation like this, and in the situation that he is now, is to come forward more often and just regularly and clearly distance himself from those circles. Right, like he did in the past, but maybe just more clear, stating, for example, that he does not support right-wing politics, white supremacy, and that he does not want subscribers who do. Get more political in your videos, right? Take a more clear stand regularly against this kind of hate. Sounds like a good idea, right? It's like, yeah, let's do that. I mean, that's what he said in the past. That's what he stands for. He said he doesn't want his channel to be connected to those kind of circles. But there's a problem with that, right? And that is that, let me put it this way, many right-wingers are not exactly an intellectual elite. Those people are incredibly good at hating and turning hate into action and encouraging others to turn hate into action. And with 100 million subscribers, you could potentially suddenly bring up a whole army of people against you. People who would potentially try to find your house, threaten your family, threaten your wife. You would then have to move, and it would potentially kick off a whole chain reaction of bullshit that nobody really wants. So PewDiePie at this point, he just continues as if nothing really happened. And I can't really judge him for that, because the internet community is an incredibly toxic place, and they don't stop at verbal abuse. But I really think PewDiePie has to be more considered in what he puts out there. I understand, he's a kind of easygoing and relaxed guy, and he doesn't want to overthink each one of his actions, but he has to consider the reach that he has. He has to consider that his actions can potentially have horrible consequences. And while I don't think he's a Nazi per se, I mean, his Twitter follower history and his easy use of the word libtard, for example, tell a slightly different story. I just think he has to be more considered about what he says. But guys, what do you think? Leave your thoughts down in the comment section below. Do you think that PewDiePie is kind of a closeted right-winger and that he just doesn't want to put it out there? Or do you believe that, his statements that he put out there about condemning any right-wing politics and white supremacy are genuine? What are your thoughts? Leave that down in the comment section below. If you made it to this point in the video, then I really appreciate it, guys, because I think too many people are just kind of looking at half of those stories, and I think it's very important to look at the bigger picture to really understand what's going on. So again, if you enjoyed the video, leave it a like, share your thoughts on it down in the comment section below, subscribe to the channel. I hope to see more of you guys on future videos. I really appreciate your time. I hope you enjoyed the video. Take care, and I'll see you next time. I'm out. Bye.